Hello everyone and welcome back to another Wizard 101 video. Today we are going to go over each of the Christmas packs in Wizard 101, specifically because, you know, it's around Christmas time. It's that time of year. Kings Isle has like 6 separate packs for Christmas time that will all be released to you. So I figured I would go over them, tell you which ones I think are good, which ones are bad, which ones are worth it, which ones aren't. Obviously, there will probably be a 7th pack released sometime later this Christmas because they usually release a pack once a year. Once that comes out, I'll probably go over what's in it. But as of now, I'll go over these just so you either don't waste crowns not knowing which ones to buy or knowing whether to buy them or not. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. All right, starting with the Yuletide gingerbread pack, I would say this pack is overall pretty mediocre. It has one mount that you can get from it, which is the Crumbles Ginger Horse mount, which honestly, in my opinion, doesn't look too good, but some people might beg to differ. It drops the spells Krampus, Reindeer Knight, and it also drops some of the hairstyles you've probably seen in the Christmas ones. And the most notable piece of gear, because it drops quite a few pieces of gear, the most notable piece of gear is probably the Snowdrifters set, which gives energy from each. But I would say out of the future packs, there are packs that have better sets of energy gear inside of them. So I would definitely recommend, if you're going for energy gear, to wait for those. This pack, I would say overall, is one of the weaker ones. It doesn't have anything really good, but it overall isn't too bad. Next up on our list is the Winter Wonder pack. This pack is actually quite a bit better than the last one for a few reasons. So first off, it actually gives the Snowdrifter stuff from the last pack as well, which is a good, decent set of energy gear. It gives that, and on top of that, it gives the Silent Night stuff, which the wands are pretty good below level 130. They're pretty good wands. Also, they have a really cool looking stitch if you're an Ice Wizard or Death Wizard, so potentially you could want those. And it also drops 2 of my more liked mounts, which is the Wolf of the Winter, which if you haven't seen is a really cool mount. I actually, if I remember correctly, I think I had it prior to my account getting snapped. It was in my shared bank, which my shared bank is gone now, but I did have it. It's a really cool looking wolf mount, and I do still actually have, if we go here, let me minimize this spell icon, I do actually still have the Snowhopper Sleigh on my Ice Wizard, which is a really cool mount. I gotta say, I do really like it. You know, just pulling you around, it definitely fits the ice theme extremely well if you're an Ice Wizard, but it does fit other themes as well. So overall, I would say this pack is solid, especially if you want a cool looking mount, because it has 2 cool looking mounts, but it also does drop that energy gear and other sets. This one, I would say, is probably the best of the 6 packs. If not the best, then it is up there, like top 3, like top 2, really. Next on our list here is the Winterland pack, which overall I would say is a mid-tier pack. It's actually a real mixed bag from my experience. Now, the Winterland pack has one really big upside, and the fact that it has the most permanent mounts out of any Christmas pack. So if you're looking to get a new mount or just a mount, like a large amount of mounts for your character or your account, this pack is probably one of the better ones to do it, because you can get 7 total different mounts from this. It drops the Yuletide Stag mount, which is a really cool mount. It drops the Winterglide Skates mount, which I know that everyone really likes. The Winterglide Skates mount, it's pretty solid in that regard. And it also drops all the candy cane mounts, which obviously are rather basic, but if you're in a desperate need of a mount, that's probably a good option. The gear from this pack is overall pretty mediocre, but it does drop some cool jewels, like it drops some pip jewels, which are pretty cool, but otherwise really nothing too spectacular. I'd say the best part of this pack is simply the mounts, but otherwise it's really just not worth it. Next up is the Yule Logger Winter pack. This pack is actually a pretty solid one, and this is the one I would put either first or second with the Winter Wonder pack. The reason for this is that it drops, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but it drops the best energy gear set in this entire game. Now, if it's not the best, then it's definitely up there for the best. It gives a lot of energy, like, I mean, a lot of energy, and if you want energy gear, this is the set to go for. The set is called the Alpine Hunter set, and it's a really good gear set in regards to energy, so if you're looking for that, go for it. As for other things in this set, it does drop Krampus and Reindeer Knight as spells. It also has Reindeer Knight spell elements. It's updated for that. It drops the hairstyles, the Christmas ones, and it drops a toboggan mount, which overall is kind of mediocre in my opinion. Next up, we have the Yuletide Mornings pack. This is, I believe, the newest pack out of them. It was released in December of 2020. And I would say it's overall kind of a mediocre one. The new gear sets, the pajama sets, they're not good in regards to gear. I will say they look kind of unique, so if you want a unique pajama type gear set, go for that, but otherwise not really. It drops 2 mounts, which are the tricycle mounts, which look really cool, and it also drops Reindeer Knight and Krampus, and it drops the spell elements for them. So if you do want those spells and the spell elements, this is a quicker way to do it than farming Lore Master. I'd still recommend farming Lore Master, obviously, but you can. Otherwise, this pack is pretty mediocre at best. I would say this is one of the bottom tier ones. No real reason to do it besides getting maybe the tricycle mount. For the final pack on our list, we have the Yuletide pack. This is, I believe, the oldest pack out of all of them. I could be wrong, but I believe it is. This pack is a mixed bag, I would say, similar to the other ones, but the main reason I would probably put this like in 3rd place in regard to best packs, for the reason that it drops again 7 permanent mounts, all the candy cane mounts, along with the winter tree ant mount. So if you want one of those, that's the way to get it. The gear it gives overall is pretty mediocre, but it does actually have some throwbacks to gear. Like if you guys remember the, I believe it's called the Raven's Horde pack, which no longer exists, I don't believe. You used to have some pretty cool gear. You can still actually get that gear in the Winterbane Gauntlet, but that gear it is also, some of it's dropped from this pack. It's a pretty cool pack in regards to callback, but really has no reason to get it. The Winter Tree Ant mount is cool, but not entirely spectacular. It's just a winter themed mount. I would say that this is like the ultimate mid-tier. Like it doesn't have the energy gear and the cool mounts of the other one, but it's not as bad and useless as some of the other ones. This is like the true mid-tier pack. So ultimately, that's what I would say for this. So ultimately, I'm gonna run down and kind of rank the packs now that I've gone over what each of them drop. I would say the Winter Wonder pack and Yule Logger pack are 1st and 2nd. They can kind of be switched around depending on what you want, whether you want the best energy gear or just some random energy gear, which, by the way, the Snowdrifter stuff is almost just as good as the Alpine gear. It's just slightly better, the Alpine gear is. So if you want the best, the Yule Logger pack is good for that. I'd say the Yuletide pack is 3rd. Then I would say it probably goes like the Winterland pack, the Gingerbread pack, and then finally the Yuletide Mornings pack is definitely in last, because the Yuletide Mornings pack just really doesn't give anything of interest. So that's what I would rank it. Let me know in the comments if you agree, if you disagree with that. Really, I'm just ranking this based on what I see in the packs and what I know from experience. Hopefully this was useful to some of you. With it being Christmas time, you know, I figured it was time to do something Christmas related. Trust me, I do have some plans for when actual Christmas rolls around, but as of now, I felt like this was a pretty good video. I figured I'd release this earlier in the month rather than later in the month so that you guys don't waste your crowns on random crap throughout the beginning. So that's it for today. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to drop a like, hit the sub button. Go support me financially on Patreon if you wish. And thank you, NJA, for being in the $25 tier. I really do appreciate it. And finally, go join my Discord server. We are very, very close to 400 members. So if you want to push that over, make it 400, go ahead and do that. But otherwise, that is it. Thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next video. Adios.